Hi there, TCS. This is Rachel Brockman, and I wanted to take a couple of moments to help you set up your gradebook in PowerTeacher Pro. This is going to be a two-step process. So this first video is going to be just setting up your categories inside PowerTeacher Pro. In your gradebook. This video is intended for our high school, as our high school has some teachers that have their average set up by points, total points, and we have some teachers at the high school that have their final average set up on a weighted scale. So this is going to address both of those situations, and we're just going to get categories set up first. So I have logged into PowerSchool SIS. I am looking at my available courses that I teach, and I'm going to go ahead and go in and start setting up my categories. So I'm going to select one of my classes. Once that class loads, I'm going to go over to the navigation bar and I'm going to choose grading, and then I'm going to go down to categories. Once I select categories, I'm going to see a list of every single category available through that came over from iNow that the high school has ever used. So at this point, I need to go through these categories, decide which ones I'm going to use, which ones I'm not going to use, and what type of point system or weighting system I want to have for each of those categories. I'm looking at the first one on my list. It says projects and presentations. And so if I know that I'm going to, at some point this year, assign projects or presentations in my class, I want to go over here to the edit button and select edit, and it's going to bring up a little wizard for me. So for this category, the first thing I need to do is select the classes that I want this category to be available. So if I click on the drop down box, and let's say I do want it available just for all of the English classes I teach, so I need to go ahead and select this one as well. Then once I have them all selected, click out of there. They should all show up here at the top. All the classes that will have projects and presentations as an assignment type should be up here. Once you've done that, if you go down here, you can choose if you want this category to be active or inactive. Choosing inactive will remove it from your category list. So at the point that you're creating an assignment, anything that you are going to want in that list, any type of assignment that you're going to create, you're going to want to stay in that list. So I'm going to keep this as an active category. The next tab is the assignment defaults. And so this first piece right up here, immediately, most people are leaving it that way for when the assignment will be published inside the portal, the PowerSchool portal. Most of you will probably be, yes, I want to have my project scores published, so you'll leave that checked. This is the next important box we need to look at. If you are a teacher that uses total points for your grading, on this drop-down menu, you need, for this category and for all of your categories, to select points. And once you've done that, the next step will be to choose a default value for this type of category of assignment that you would like it to have. So if for projects and presentations, you know that you're going to do this, you know that they're going to be pretty heavy grade for your students, you may want to have a default value of 100 points for that particular class. If you click View All, that tab, it just shows you the whole list of categories available. And I'll show that to you real quickly. There it is. So I'm going to go back to default values. And once we have all of this set the way that we want, you do select if you want it counted in the final grade or not. Then you click Save. And once you've done that, on this main category page, you'll see the classes that you have assigned that category to and that it's active. All right, so let's say down here we see one, skills review. All right, so let's say that that's a category that we don't think that we're going to assign this year. That's not a category you're going to use. You can set that category as inactive. So let me show you what that looks like. If I go in on this first screen and choose inactive, when I click Save, that category is going to be removed from this category list that we have on the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save, and you'll see it says Skills Review category updated, and it's no longer on my list. If you are a teacher that uses weighted averages, you're going to want to set up your categories just a little bit differently. So if you decide that classwork is going to be a category you're definitely going to use this year, you'll go over to the Edit button. First, you'll select the classes that you know that you're going to use classwork as one of your categories for assignments. So I'm going to go select all of my English. Once you have all those selected and click out, you should see all of those up there at the top. Make sure that you've got the active button selected, and then you're going to go to assignment defaults. Once you're in here, you'll leave it at immediately. Yes, we'll publish the scores, and the score type is where we need to make our change. So I'm going to select score type and say, okay, this is going to be a percent of my total average. You also can set a default point amount for this type of work. So if you know most of your classwork is going to be out of 20 points, you can set it at 20. When you are actually creating the assignment, you can change that default amount. But just know that whatever point value you give it, it's still that whole category, the whole category of classwork is still going to be weighted by the percent that we set up in video number 2 of setting up your gradebook. So just be sure that it's set to percent if you are a teacher that uses weighted averages. Once you've got everything set the way that you wish, go ahead and click Save, and that should set that category the way that you need it. So if you're a teacher that uses total point averages, just know that you need to go down this entire list. Go ahead and mark these categories as active or inactive. For your active categories, make sure that each one of the score types is listed as points, and then you can go ahead and set your point values for each of those categories however you wish, the default point values. If you are a teacher that averages with a percent weighted average, same thing, you'll go through the list, set each of these categories as active or inactive, and you'll go in and set your score type as percent. And then you can set your default point for that category, your default points for that category as well. I hope this video has been helpful to you in setting up your categories for your gradebook. High school teachers, be sure to watch video number 2 about setting up your gradebook inside PowerTeacher Pro. And if you have any questions at all, please email me at rachel.brockman@trustfulcityschools.com.